ladies and gentlemen. Welcome again for another episode of your favorite TV show, African Youth Time Show. Tonight, just like any other night, I am your host, and my name is Sangwa Piantochis. My co-presenter, or my co-host that I'm going to show you right now, he is going to tell you the topic of tonight, and he is going to introduce our audience, who are especially, yet again, our guests. So, Melvin, how are you?
I'm fine, Sangwa. How are you?
I'm good too. How was your week?
The week was nice. I hope yours too.
Yeah, we thank God. So, yeah. Melvin, I want you to elaborate more on the topic that we are going to discuss about, and I want you to go ahead and introduce the guests
of tonight. Okay, so the topic of tonight, as you know, every Thursday on Africa Youth Time TV show, we have a crucial topic that we are discussing. And the topic of tonight is, does education in Africa remain a form of intellectual colonization, given the gap between university curricula and African realities? And tonight we are pleased once again to have this discussion with two of our guests, Mr. Emmanuel Noah, who is Emergency Disaster Management from UNILAC, and Mrs. Nawa Nadej, who is a level 2 student in Environment, Emergency and Disaster Management from UNILAC 2. Good evening and welcome.
How are you feeling, guys?
Good.
Are you ready to have an open discussion?
Yeah, sure.
An intellectual discussion?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Tonight you are two only, you have to speak more.
So, without further ado, let me, start our area of discussion with, do you guys think that studying at university today will 100% be useful for your country? The thing that you guys are studying right now, do you think that they're going to be 100% useful for your country in the future, your environment, or your community?
Thank you so much, Mr. Sangwe. My name is Nawar Nadej, as he introduced me, and I'm so glad just showing up here tonight. So, as the question goes, do I think it's 100% needed, or if I can say useful? From my own eye or my perspective, I don't think it's 100% useful, and I think that's normal.
Really?
Well, maybe it's gonna be kind of surprising or new to some people, but I don't think everything I just took in class is gonna be useful to my country. It's not that it's not useful, but I'm not just gonna need everything.
So you said you studied what exactly?
I'm taking environmental management and environmental disasters management emergencies. Yeah.
So you are basically dealing about disasters happening in a specific country.
Sure, yeah.
So how unuseful do you think that will be? That's actually very useful, if you ask me.
It can be, but
not.
Okay, here we're not. I just didn't answer this considering only what I'm taking right now. I just took the whole education, like the whole things I just took from school. So yes, it's gonna be useful, but is it in all sides of the life outside here? Because not everything is based on environment. So yeah, that's why I just gave that answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Noah Emmanuel Novohongiro. What I think about the questions, what we study in our country, some faculties or some departments are useful. For example, for me, I study emergency and disaster management.
So you're in the same class?
Yeah, the emergency, it is not useful only, it is more useful because we live on the world. We meet with different things. A disaster happen, a hazard happen. So to have as a department of emergency in our country, it is more useful. The problem of today in general Africa, many lecturers, many teachers, they are focusing with theoretically and go beyond to the practical. For example, the people can teach firefighting in theory, but when you go in reality, there is no practice. So, but if there is theoretically together for practice, it is very, very useful. When you go to the other studies or other faculties, some are important, but not 100%. Nowadays, the African who are studying the things from colonialism. Do you think how the people studying, for example, in biology, the people are studying nowadays fries, and you can ask yourself how fries can bring an impact in our country.
You, Mr. Noah.
Yeah.
I'm asking you personally.
Yeah.
Do you think that the thing that you are studying right now will be useful for your community, for your country?
Yes, what I'm studying right now is very useful. Yes.
That's very interesting,
Yeah.
because you are colleagues in one class, but you have two different beliefs.
Yeah, it depends on how you go deeply and how you become in studies. You go, yeah, it depends. But
Okay.
for me, emerges, it is more useful. It is one department in this country. It is more useful.
Okay, so why do you think that the things that you're studying is not important? It's not as important. You said it's not 100% useful. So why do
Yeah,
you
sure.
think that?
It is important. If I make myself clear, it is important. And so far, we've just met where, like, I personally have just been into some situations where I need to apply what I take in from school. But then I'm sticking on this line like 100%. Is it really 100% useful? Because is everything that I'm just gonna go through in this life revolving around what I taken from class? So that's where my opposition comes from.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
really
sure.
nice.
Okay. Since the two of you are studying the same faculty, are studying in the same faculty, I would like to know what kind of environmental disaster do you manage? Do they teach you to manage if it happened, for example?
Well, thank you. I can say like everything. We don't meet everything here in Rwanda. Maybe depending on the structure of our country or where it's located from, but we just study in case we meet that. How are we gonna handle it? Yeah,
Okay,
like
can
the
you-
mitigations, the ways of preventing them, the ways of just coping with the like the bad sides that it brings, like the negative impacts it gets on us. Yeah.
Okay, and like this one is actually somehow matching with what you have said in the beginning, because you have said it's not 100% sure that you're going to use it maybe in your country, in Rwanda. Like, I want to know, since the topic of tonight is the education in our country in Africa, in our countries in Africa, a form of colonization, intellectual colonization, meaning coming from other people, from people from outside. Don't you think that those disasters are more likely to happen outside than in your specific country? For instance, like I wanted to give me like one example of one disaster. You maybe studied how to manage it, maybe flood, fire, which one?
Okay, if I get this right, you want to know what happens here from Rwanda, or maybe what we study but doesn't likely show up in Rwanda?
Not exactly. Like, I want to know, in which case can you use your study in Rwanda?
Okay. In which case?
Maybe you
Let's
can
say-
pass the mic to your colleague if you're still thinking about it.
Both of you are in the same faculty.
Yeah,
so-
sure. But I can give an answer here. Like, if I can say in which case, maybe we can we just take, like, we study how to manage global gases here in Rwanda, and that's a disaster. That can be a disaster. Like, that can
Okay.
have a bad impact on us, and we see how to manage climate changes. You just asked me one, like I just already gave two, so
Okay, okay.
it's okay. I
I
can
see.
give him.
Yes, thanks so much. About one hazard or one disaster in our class, what we study. For example, let's take an example for fire outbreaks. Nowadays, many the houses can get to meet with fire outbreaks, and even in the forest, the fire can happen. So, what we study in our class, they show us they somehow can take mitigation measures and how can read emergency action plan. So, when the fire outbreaks happen, for example, we should know, or any emergency call, any emergency contact can call. In Rwanda, we usually used to contact the police as the fire marshal. So, not only that, we train the peoples, the community, how to use the fire extinguishers, even hose fire extinguishers or CO2 fire extinguishers. That is one example of disaster. Another one. Last year you heard the flooding that happened in Rubavu district. The flooding is a very difficult disaster. There's some mitigation measures of flooding. For example, in Rwanda, they take the people from the wetland or swamps to go to find another land to live, so that they can avoid to meet with any flooding. So that mitigation measures, you can study it when you are studying environment, especially emergency and disaster
That's amazing.
management.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So Melvin?
Do you have anything to add on? Okay. So the next question for you guys will be, do you think adapting curricula to African realities is a necessity or just an excuse to avoid global competitiveness?
Interesting.
Do you think the fact of raising the topic of adjusting curricula in universities is just an excuse for Africans to avoid global competitiveness? Why not all of us we study the same thing and compete on the market? That's the question.
Yes, thank you so much. About that questions, to adopting other curriculum, it is not a good 100% because we have our unique as African countries. So we have our unique what we can study in African. But for example, those other countries, European countries, American countries, they are developed countries. We can take the things that can help our African countries, and we study them. So we cannot take all of them, all of things from colonial, because we have our unique. For my opinion, we can take from colonial countries and we consider our basic or our unique African.
Okay. Does
Yes.
anyone have anything to add on?
Pass the mic to your colleague, please.
Yes, you're welcome, bro.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Masson.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm better. Apologies for being late.
No, it's okay.
Sure.
As long as you are here, it's okay. It's fine.
That's true. Unfortunately, I didn't get the full question.
The question was, do you think we have to adjust the curricula in Africa, or do you think it's just an excuse to avoid global competitiveness?
Okay. So that's a very good question. I'm from Zimbabwe. I come from Zimbabwe, and I've been following the news in Zimbabwe. So the government in Zimbabwe is trying to use one curriculum for the whole country. So as you're at school, you are supposed to use one curriculum. So I've been thinking about it, which is almost quite similar to your own question. So I think there's a way as Africans we have to own our own narratives. So we have to make, if we are to make a curriculum, I so believe that it's supposed to be something that relates to us as Africans. If we think we have to, bring about the like courses that are in agriculture that relate with the agriculture systems we have, with the machineries we have, minerals, resources we have, and then it's as exactly as the one that depicts what Africa has. I think in a way that's it should be the case. So I think in a nutshell, I'm trying to bring about the fact that it's very important for us as Africans to do things that resonate with us as Africans, because at the end of the day, we don't miss the point. We do things deliberately. I mean, we have to do things because we want to do them, and it's supposed to be done, not because I don't know, somebody said things have to go this way. You understand? So I think for us not to miss the point, the syllabus, everything, the curriculums, they have to go hand in hand with what we have at our disposal. And as well as what he said. So I think that's my point on that one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone has anything to add on?
So I was wondering, right?
Sure.
Why is it that if we are studying things in university, what are you studying again?
I'm into software engineering.
You're into software engineering,
Yeah.
and they're into environmental management and disasters, right? Why is it that the government that implements these curriculums and these curriculums that the university students are following and are studying, if they think that is so suitable and it's so important for you to learn, why do they still hire, engineers, and these other people from outside instead of hiring you guys? Or let's say us, the local people. Does it mean that the Africans were not competent, or is this colonial mindset that the foreigners are better than us? What do you think?
Okay, I'll start. So my opinions about that, they are a little bit vague, because at the end of the day, I get where they come from. They want to hire people who know what they're doing. For example, if you have a professor, I think it's always a good thing to utilize them, because professors are mainly people who have read something throughout. They understand where it's coming from, where it's going, any, this and that about something. So I think the involvement part has to be there. So I feel like if the government is not involving youth to a certain extent, or people who are in schools, in these schools, then that's a loophole that has to be corrected. But your question is very difficult to answer. Like the why reason, because it's actually a begging question that we need a response from them. We want to know also.
So why do you think that that's happening?
Sure.
The same thing that you were saying, right?
Yeah.
If a professor is teaching you, it has to be something that they learned, right? But you are learning. If you're learning, it's like you're fetching from their brains into your bottle. You're taking from them to you. Why do you guys think that you're not seen as competitive enough or as good enough to do the same thing that is? Look at, for example, we are Rwandans, right? Look at Amahoro. No, look at Convention. Look at BK Arena, for example. Who built it? Why was it not the Rwandans, the engineers in Rwanda? Why do you guys think that?
Yeah, thank you for elaborating now. To be honest enough, it's a case of who has the skill. And unfortunately, because even if we are to talk of do we need help from external help from within or outside our countries, I will believe that we need it, because to some extent as African countries we are not fully developed to an extent where we can build different buildings. Like the level of competence is there, but for example, I think this is one of the facts that people always talk about. It's very rare. I don't think in Rwanda also there is, in as much as Zimbabwe also doesn't have. Like the fact that we don't even produce our own cars. What we do in Africa, we take parts and then we start assembling, and then assemble, starting building a car. Like we don't make our own parts. You get what I mean? So just that would tell you that we are far from, you know, a certain industrial level where we are supposed to be producing our own stuffs. You get? And also, it doesn't end there. Philosophers also want to bring about the fact that the same resources that are being used to build these cars are mainly from Africa. So we have the resources, and it seems we don't know how to bring about the innovation. So I think that's where the question is, are we not innovative enough? Me, I believe we are, but there's a long way we have to push, because when you also study the history of those people those are countries that can now make cars, produce cars, they went through a lot of industrial levels. You know, I think we used to read this back in high school. So yeah, I think as Africans, there's a lot to be pushing. And I think this evolution sometimes is swaying us, pushing us back and forth. And it makes us miss some of these stages. So as Africans, I think there's a way we have to go stage by stage. If we are producing, let the whole of Africa be industrial. Let's push until we reach the tertiary level, where the industries are just operating on themselves, where the tertiary level is already there. Like, it's very easy to determine those levels of production, like, you know, the tertiary, the primary, and even the secondary.
So then pass the mic to your colleagues. I want to hear from you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna add up to what he said. I think from my own side, they consider maybe the specialization gap, or maybe the skills, like what are they specifically into? Because we as Africans, we might learn that, but do we have all the basic needs needed to perform like the whole experiences? Like, do we have those labs to perform all we need to, like, to just get the perfect outcome needed?
So you think that the problem is the lack of materials?
Yeah, sure. Africans, we are still down on materials, like basic needs.
But if you have been practicing these things, you know, you've learned the practice, how it's done. If they gave you the materials to reassemble something, wouldn't you do it? Don't you think you'll be capable of doing it if they gave you the materials that you needed?
That's where comes in the experience.
Oh, so you are not experienced enough when you finish your school?
Yes, they can give you that, but we have to admit to some part that maybe they perform it more often than we do. Because if it's something that he has been experiencing for over 5 years, and I'm just gonna perform that for maybe 2 years or less, definitely his results or her results are just gonna come out perfect, more than mine. So Africans were on that side of the world. Maybe it's not undermining us because I'm an African and I love Africa, but still there's some things we don't have yet to just achieve that, you know.
Okay, thank you. Can pass the mic to your colleague. What do you think?
Yes, for me, what I think, sometimes we see the government hire international engineers, international companies. One side is good, another side somehow there is a challenge, because it shows that the government does not trust their educational system.
Interesting point.
Yeah, they not trust their educational system. So another side, the government, it looks like a palette, because those guys, those international guys, they are higher developed. So when they come, for example, when the government hire international from European or Asia, they come in Rwanda, they insert another Rwandan companies to start from them. For example, they can come and they use the Rwandan, at least we are Rwandan, at least 60% of workers. When we are working with them, we are getting more knowledge. But what I can say about this question, the government can see where they need a skills, and they can find in their country. If there is someone who has the skills, they can give the opportunities, because sometimes the young peoples, the youth peoples, they have skills, But even those international, they are the same skills, but they are not still, trust them, they can perform 100% because I remember one story. One guy, he has a system used to open the door, and that system, he wanted to sell it in that university where he studied. But that university, he never trusted him. Other international companies, they trust him. The problem, sometimes some readers, they are not trusting 100% the educational system we have.
Matching it with the topic of our, of the topic of tonight.
Yeah.
If this education is like a challenge to, was like a form of intellectual colonization. Do you guys believe that it's matching? As in, we are Africans. You see your fellow African. You think, they can do it. But this one, he's white, he's Chinese. Obviously, he can. What do you think should be changed with that mentality?
Prove them wrong.
Because it brings me, the thing that you guys said, it brings me to one point. We are intellectually colonized. You believe?
Can I engage?
Yes.
Interestingly enough, I think I missed some points, and they were trying to talk about the fact. So if you look generally at a young person in China, you can't compare them with a young person in Africa. And let me give reasons. So right now, young people in Africa, I'm doing software engineering, and I'm supposed to be able to assemble like gadgets, do work with hardware, understand different systems. But at my level, if I'm to compete with those young people, you will find that they might, to some extent, even be better than me. So I think there's a point where you was talking about systems, like the way the government approaches education itself. It really is important because I've seen, especially, I think we all have been on social media. When you look in China, China's youth, as early as 10 years, they're already making a calculator. They're already building systems, and you see the future for those youth is very bright. I remember I also follow news in different countries. Australia, I think they have put an age limit to, is it WhatsApp or social media? Like certain certain youth, I think at the age of 16, that's when they are allowed to start using certain social media.
Yeah.
So that should tell you that some countries are really like inclined, and they want the best out of their own youth. Like, it's not just about you growing from anywhere, it's the future. Because they understand you are the future, there's a lot that people should invest in you. Because I think as Japan, all the innovation that those countries are building, it's not by mistake. I've studied it. You understand that they take time to build a person. And then at the end of the day, people are now building ChatGPT that Africa is going crazy with. Robotics, you understand? It's not something that you just dream of. No.
Yeah.
It takes years of experience, learning, like she was saying, experience. So the same person who is building a calculator, or should I say a phone, a watch, at the age of 6, what do you think they'll be doing at the age of 20? What do you think they'll be doing at the age of 40? So these are the same people who by the age of 20, they're already millionaires. You understand? So I think to some extent as Africans, okay, now to engage the question, that's where maybe people do compare to say, generally, you understand? I think we've seen this even here in Africa. We have a certain group of youth that are able to attend high-level schools, and then us from the general public. So then you see that these people, the way they are thinking, what they have been exposed to, is way different from what we are thinking. They already know. And it brings about the effect of practicality, because mostly in these schools we learn a lot of theory. We learn of the things, some of the things, they are not even relevant. I'm into software engineering, but I'll tell you that I've been doing a lot of geography, history, a lot of sociology. I studied all these subjects. So in China, when they already know this student is going to do this, they take time to mold you to understand what you are interested in. You understand? So they do what they call catch them young. As soon as you are young, if you like football, they expose you to any type of coach you can, any type of video you have to watch. You understand? So I think that's where the focus. I think in Africa they are trying to do that, but is it the point she was trying to make about resources is maybe the allocation of resources now. Like sometimes you may have water, but if the like water in terms of rivers, whatsoever, but if you can't use that water to generate things like electricity, that's why you see other countries in Africa, they still have all these load shedding, like a lot of electric power cuts. So you have the resources, but you can't utilize it. So in other words, we think that there is lack of material, even if you have it. You understand? Like the point I was trying to make, the same resources that cars are being built on. For example, Zimbabwe, we are the largest lithium producer. So every laptop, I think they are what we call chips. Those chips, they are from lithium and, but we can't even make those things. So we export those things to other countries, and then they come back to sell us the final product. So until we start learning from that, the youth have a potential. We can work with our resources and all that and all that.
Thank
We
you
might
very much.
reach
Thank
that
you very
level.
much. Melwin?
Okay. My question would be, do you think someone can succeed with a purely Africanized educational system without even taking any coach from outside or any teaching from outside? That will be my question.
I think it actually rhymes with what we were talking about.
That really matches with the previous question.
Yeah.
I think it goes hand in hand. But my answer to this is, I don't think if it was me like Nawar, are you just gonna need, okay, let me call this like an African mind. Are you just gonna need an African mind all your life to be successful? No, I deny that. I'm not.
Okay.
Oh,
I
wow.
need something outside, something challenging, something,
Okay.
with, let me deal with something new, not just in one box. It's like just being in one position and being fed one type of meal. Like, would you just resist one type of meal the whole year? No,
But the thing
it's
is, we are
not gonna be
wondering.
good.
The thing is, we are wondering, would you trust another African to actually teach you, right? To actually.
It's not really a question. Like, she was answering the thing, actually. Like, the thing is that we have seen that sometimes we trust more people from abroad than African, as you said already. And we are wondering if, African can actually do things or become successful globally without even have interest on those things from abroad.
The external help. Yeah, without the external help.
No, I think I'm still gonna stick on my answer. I think we all need that one person to just make us reach somewhere. So Africa is still gonna need experiences, global experiences. To some part, yes, we're gonna keep our, maybe let me say, we're just gonna keep our culture, and it's not a sin seeking for help, but still, we are gonna need something from outside. Me personally, I'll just vote for it. I'll just go for it.
Okay.
So I think us getting far, we are not just gonna base on our own local minds, if I can say that.
Okay.
Thanks.
Do you have something to say?
Yes, what I think about that questions, African we are capable. Yes, Africans were capable. Remember, the first factor or first industry start in Africa, in Egyptian.
Okay.
Yes, Africa is the first continent found about the writing from the Egyptian.
Okay.
So nowadays, we can study in Africa and get the knowledge from Africa, and we become successful.
Okay.
So if there is another additional extra skills, you can adopt them, but in Africa, we must think we are capable, we can study and we grow from our scratch in Africa and we become successful. Because those things, those development, those Asia people, European ones, they mitigate them from Africa because we are the first one. We introduce about the industries. Why not today? Even nowadays we can do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Paul, do you have something to say?
Yeah, I always have something to say. So I just want to summarize from what they were talking about. So the thing is, should we trust or do I trust? Yes, and I think we already have like testimonies. Countries like Rwanda, they will tell you how Africa has developed, like has changed over time. So back then, I would not have that confidence. But when you look at countries like Rwanda, so here's the thing. The reason why we have, I don't know if you are familiar with Ivy Leagues, which are like the top universities, Stanford, Yale, whatsoever. Yeah. By the way, I have a brother who is at Yale, so I get to learn more about what they are doing, how different they are. At one time, the president of Rwanda, he was in a lecture in Harvard University teaching them. And this is some of the things I will tell you. I think they, like, it's always the same thing. The way they make their own things rigorous. So the way, if you are studying a course here in Rwanda, or should I say in Africa, and then somebody is studying a course in the United States, at a particular university, for example, the Ivy Leagues, it's almost different. So I think the balance as well, when you come to the theory, practicality, like you don't just learn, you have to practice, and then to learn what matters. You understand? There are courses or there are schools or institutions where when you learn something, soon after the class, everybody trusts that you can implement that thing. You understand? So yesterday, actually, in the evening, we were having a discussion with a group of friends, and we were talking about, valuation. So right now, if a student at Stanford University and a friend at Yale University try to open a company right now, that company, without anything to say, when you evaluate without anything, it's already worth $1 million if you don't know. So it's should I say, how do I say this? It's almost the name behind it. You understand? So they've put a lot
the brand.
of they've put a lot of trust, and I don't know, the way they build the system, the mechanisms, they are very strong. So Africa, we are like, just to summarize, the first one says no, and I understand why, because at the end of the day, it may not be fully, because the problem is, if you take a case study, those who develop with Africa only, they are very limited, very few people. In my country, because I sometimes view people, millionaires, that share about how they dropped out of school and then later developed something and become a millionaire. It's like, in those stories are 1 in a million. But if you go there, it's like a lot of people. It's because they've always made room for that. So the reason why people come to Rwanda to open businesses is now it's very free, easy to do. You understand? That's why I say in Africa we now have the hope. You said we have the potential, we have it now. But still, it's not the case with other countries in Africa. Some other countries is still, right now, there are wars. You can't do anything, So I think we, over time, we can reach there. So I still have that belief, because countries like Rwanda have already shown us that it's possible.
Actually, thank you for that. I was thinking about what your colleague just said about the Egyptians and what they managed to build. And I actually think that that's quite true, They have managed to make something really big, from their own minds, These the foreigners in general, the Europeans, the Asians, everything they have or everything they have ever managed to build, they built it themselves. So thinking that Africans can build something for themselves is really not something that we should support, technically speaking. You want to say something?
Yeah, actually, there's something I left on. So sometimes I tend to speak and fail to later explain. So the reason why I was talking about the president of this country teaching at Harvard. So what those schools do, they take the best. If we are talking about diplomacy, governance, we look for who is doing the best right now in the world. You understand? That's what they do. But funny enough, a lot of Africans are the reasons, or they are actually the founders of a lot of innovations around the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Egyptians was talking about. So I got to learn this through my brother. So the thing, what they do is they call the best in different industries, and most of them are Africans. I don't know how it's came to be, but it's a sign that as Africans, if we are given the room where we can express ourselves, so head to head, I cannot safely say we are more intelligent, but it's a lie that those Westerners, they are more intelligent than us. No. For me, it's a lie because we've already proven it. Even in their own institutions, majority is of those facilitators, the teaching is the Africans.
Even in tech, majority are Nigerians. That's what I heard.
Exactly, that's true. So you later understand that we can do, but it's just that everywhere. I think you understand. If you have the talent there, in Africa, it's very difficult for you to be there. Of course, competition, but a lot of reasons around it. But if you're there, that side, there's room for you to give it out, and then you can see who excel. So it's about the opportunities as well.
So then, according to our realities as Africans in general, we know what we're going through. We know the socio-economic things. We know our realities as Africans. What should the government do to implement these things in our curriculum? Do you think they should be the curriculums that the students are following in universities in general should rely on our realities? What do you guys think?
To answer this, as you just mentioned something about exposing young ones or children, like these young people, the young generations, as that's something I would suggest if I was in a position to ask for that. I think we could just give a chance. Like we stop pushing everything into their minds all at once, because are they at the end of the day gonna need all that? Mm-hmm. I think we'll just focus, like give an eye, mostly parents and teachers, tutors, like let them just give an eye. What is this child capable of doing? What is the other one experienced at? Like, what do you usually see that kid into? Is he always having leisure time around, or is he into football? Is he into drawings, or is he always trying to see how this is made up? Let's just put a focus on that. That's what I would suggest for us, we Africans, because we tend to... I took PCB in high school, in secondary. Mm-hmm. I took PCB, but right now things are changed. I'm into environment, and where is the physics I was taking? Where is the... Maybe biology is coming back. Like, where's the history we used to learn? All that.
Indeed.
So I think we'll just focus on to what are we capable of, or where is all my interest is, what is interesting me right now. Me as Nawar, if I see myself, if someone would ask me, what are you into, girl? Like, what would I be capable of answering? So let's give that a chance. Let's give that all the energy, provide all the basic needs and experiences needed. So from there, maybe Africa coming up. Years, yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. What I think, when they are going to prepare the curriculum, they can include what you have in Africa. But as you say, the curriculum sometimes is the same. It's the same. What the developing country or colonial countries is more than us. They want to insert what they want, but we can study what you want to develop. For example, they can tell you to study something just no importance, or there is no load in your life. But they are busy in implementing a system. Nowadays, we can take our curriculums and structure according our missions, our visions, and we mitigate their systems, and we adopt how they build their curriculums. As we build from the young peoples to the youth, even to the older peoples, in a few years, they will become more success what I think. Yeah.
So you think that the government should make these curriculums based on based on the reality of Africans in general?
I don't know how we can take based on our African reality, because in Africa we build. A building is everywhere in the world, but you can see how we can make a curriculum for civil engineering, and we meet with the international ones. Yes, for example, in emergency and disaster management, disaster it doesn't happen in Rwanda only, everywhere in the world. But how can Rwanda study from, for example, like US, how to manage the disaster, and we implement that, yeah, in our curriculum. So because what you have here is what they have, but the difference is how we manage. Yes.
Okay, you can pass the mic to your colleague.
Thank you so much. I think they've said pretty much everything, but I just want to say, for me, what I believe is they have to incorporate the realities of Africa, and the reasons are that because the structure, I've seen people who are studying law in different countries, and there are countries that don't allow international students to study law because they understand, if you are going to study and we are not going to give you the job here, you can't basically apply our law in your own country. Mm-hmm. You get? And that has to give you understanding to say, it's not just on law. It's very good for you to go and understand all the different types of civil engineering you want at MIT, which is the best IT university in the world. But at the end of the day, is it suiting the topography in Rwanda, the place of is it 1,000 years? So that's where we have to talk about it. And in Africa, we are talking of a delicate group of people that have been through a lot. Colonization, some have been through genocide, some are still doing xenophobia. So it's not just easy. For me, I feel like that is a very brilliant question, and it's supposed to be even presented to presidents of sitting countries, like sitting presidents, because at the end of the day, it should make sense. That's when I like what the president of this country does, where you take people to be accountable for what they're doing. Are you doing something? What is it you're doing? Because at the end of the day, you get to understand that we are not just doing for the sake of doing. It has to have relevance. So for it to have relevance, it's supposed to suit what we have. And that's one thing I like about this show. Sitting down, taking time to talk. For you're not just speaking. You also take time to reflect, understand, you understand. And it's relevant. So had it been that in Africa, it was where it's supposed to be, I think we're supposed to be having this at national level. Like the whole country has to be listening. People have to be giving their own opinions. You understand? As part of the curriculum. You get what I mean? It's not supposed to happen because one of the people in the society has just been innovative. No. And that's where other countries that are doing it separate themselves. They take what is good, they try to make it general for everyone. So you should not reach a certain level because, of course, okay, the government has a lot to do. For example, trying to tweak the curriculums, syllabuses, so that students learn. It's not just about learning. I don't know how to say all these things, but I hope you can understand, and I'm driving the point home. Sure. So yeah, we have to, because I pretty much don't believe that it's necessary for us to be learning about certain. Okay, we should have people doing those things, but we should not have everyone doing those things, like studying AI. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's very good. Automation is good, but you can't do automation where you don't even have a system. So here's the thing. Automation works. I think we can all understand. There are things that happen progressively. You start from here, you go here, you go there. If you jump one stage, you honestly see it in the long run that there's something missing. There's deep lack of deep understanding of what I'm working with. You get? So yeah, that's where people have to tweak things and make them resonate to what they are in, the situations, their own materials and stuff like that. Yeah.
Melvin?
Okay. In the beginning of the show, we discussed about buildings, maybe Amaro Stadium or even the Convention Center. We say that we used to bring those people from abroad, those white people, to construct them for us. I want to know, do you think it would be a good idea if maybe university develop partnership with maybe international industries to provide practices teaching to students in Africa, or you think it will be detrimental for local industries? What do you think of it?
Yeah, I think those are some of the solutions. And it's not only that. Even certain countries should be taking different youth throughout the country. Because if it's the situation of Amahoro, I think I was reading one of these days, and I think it's the Turkish that's built that. If you know the Turkish, but it's one of those, yeah. So imagine we were to take a group of certain Rwandans who are in that industry, we take them to Turkey for a period of a time. They learn of how to build this. They come back home, they build it. It's not just Amahoro we are going to build. We are going to build tons of a lot of these stadiums. You understand?
Yeah.
But I think we have been saying these things since we started. Like, it's all about what are we doing with the talent we have? Because to be honest, right now, in Africa, what's there is brain drain. The reason why my brother, I don't even know why he's supposed to be going to Yale. Of course, it's good. The university is good. He himself is brilliant. But at the end of the day, that's brain drain. I have seen a lot of you do incredible things. But those people, they end up in the States, in Germany, in China. You get what I mean?
Developing them instead of their own.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, now the question is, why are they there? What are they doing, which is not here in Africa? You understand that obviously they are being paid, a better salary. Their living conditions are very good. Their laws maybe are not harsh. Some of those things are, So I think as Africans, those are the things we have to also try to answer. If somebody of that standard is to stay here, are we doing justice to them? Like, how do we stop brain drain? Because the fact that we can still say this and this is not in my country, then I have to go where it is. Then you understand? Or my talent is not being really valued here. And I think there's a country in Africa that is trying to address this, Burkina Faso. And I was happy to hear their president say, I can't go and seek medical attention outside this country. And that should be the case. We should be reliant of what we are using. Then we will be intentional with whatever we are building. If I know I want to be treated in my own country, then I should make sure that whatever facilities that are in my country are up to standard to be treating me. You understand?
Sure.
Until we start thinking in that lens, then I think that's when we start building. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Most welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. To have a partnership, it is a big thing, because in a partnership, sometime when you meet a partnership with another side, there is what you call memorandum of understanding. Those international, they have a developed, or they have technology equipment. They have a new version of technology and equipment. When our university or our country get the partnership with international ones and even the companies, we can get new skills from that their technologies. So to get partnership is a good thing. For example, take an example from what we call that category example, not. Luxembourg, yes. It's Luxembourg. I remember I will tell you. Luxembourg. They invest in education where the youth, they go about and study and new thing and skills, and they come in their countries, they come back in the countries, and they promote, and many people create innovations.
Yes, China is doing it.
Yeah, what we need is that like that. Yeah. Our youth, even us, we can love our countries. We can love our continental African. We can make a change. We can bring a new things, because many of us we think that to go in America and Europe is easy life. It is it is not like what we think, because there. What they have more than us, it is a lot of works. But to get money, it is to work hard, work many hours. Like people can work 18 hours in 24 hours or 15 hours in 24 hours. What if in Rwanda the people can work 15 hours? They can get money, more money. What we think or what we need is to bring those skills and we know event in our countries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Adding up on this, I just sat here and kept on giving an ear on all they said. And there is a saying, it's a proverb that says in Kinyarwanda, akanyoni katagutse ntikamenya bwiza. And so to translate that in English, it's like a bird that doesn't fly, doesn't know where it's green, if I can say that. So why am I saying this? Yes, coming to the question that you just asked, we need to go out and fetch experiences. But do we have the spirit of using what we brought from outside in our own countries? Or we are just still having the sense of staying where it's luxurious or lights are just, So I just think, yes, it's something to consider. Let's go out and have that partnership, like with outsiders, with foreigners. Let's get the experiences to our own selves. But are we gonna use that to develop our countries, or they're just gonna take advantage of us? Because we tend to show the zeal of wanting to try things. We tend to show that we want to gain knowledge on something, and they tend to give an eye on the zeal we are giving, like we would use this person in our own benefits, right? So are we just having the potential minds to think, let's go fetch this and come develop what's ours, or we are just going to fetch that and work for them? So that's where we Africans have to question ourselves. We have to put down the spirit of that they just forced in our minds, like that's how you have always been, like you are always gonna be on our feet. Let's first have the mentality of we can do this, we are capable of this, and if yes, then we can prove them wrong. We can maximize the best of it. So it's good. Let's go out, fetch experience, come back, build ours. It's okay. That's good. So I think it's good if I just answered your question.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
Okay. All of you said it's a thing to go out and fetch for education outside, to get new skills from outside. But we have also to have this mentality of coming back to the home country and build the country. But do you think it's to every citizen to have this mentality? Because we go out for learning, but we also go out for money, because we know even if we work more there, we get also more money from there. So do you think it's up to the citizens of a country or up to the government of the country to actually help the citizen to get that mentality of coming back? What do you think of it?
I think, if I'm being honest, you help who wants to be helped, right?
Okay.
So the government, if the citizens wouldn't want to change the mentality, then the government wouldn't be one to go and force that into their minds. So we are first gonna have, that's what I've just said. We have to create that mind, like, what do I want, first of all? Is this gonna benefit me or even the entire community that I come from? If yes, then, and I think if you develop your community, then you're just gonna gain from that. Because if I come here and start up something that's gonna benefit all the 6 of us, then I'm gonna benefit more, and that's gonna benefit the country at large. So the mentality counts when it comes to considering money and mind. Mentality comes first. Yes, you can gain money, but if I don't know how to manage the money, then what's for? What's the money for?
True.
still with no mind of where to invest your money, the money is useless. That's my side.
That's amazing. You guys, I want us to, as you're answering this question, I also want us to think about the last message that we want to give to each and everyone who is watching us, because the time is running, so that we can keep up with time. Okay?
Sure. Yes, thank you so much. What we can do, the government can take initiative for increasing the awareness in youth, more youth, because many youth they go abroad, and even in general in the community. But it little by little it will come. So last days ago, I hear one doctor, he's Rwandan, he was in China. He found a new formula in chemistry, and China, he want him to buy that new formula, and he refused them. He come in Rwanda to implement that formula. That is an example. So nowadays, even as we can do, what a message can give us, the people of us, is this: in Africa, we are capable, so we can learn from others, and the things which are good, we take it in our home country and we build our countries. We are capable forever until ever. Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and engage on your question. So, for me, I don't know, did you know that there are countries right now in the world whose citizens, like their main revenue is from people who are abroad? Because what happens is, when you're abroad, you definitely have a family that is remaining here. So what happens in countries, like I think he mentioned Luxembourg, I think there are a lot of those countries, but there's one I was reading. So what happens is in these countries, most of its citizens, they are known to travel abroad, and a lot of money comes back when they are sending money home. You understand what I mean? So it's a very good strategy, and it happens in that country over a long time. Like, that's how they actually survive. That's one of the first things. Number two, okay, now to answer your question, who's responsible? For me, I think it's the government. A government for a certain country can make such things happen. Number two, a government now, its responsibility is to also counter, like we're trying to talk about brain drain. Like, if somebody is to go to a certain country, let it be the responsibility of a country to know how best we can lure back these our people to come back to our own countries, to their own countries, so that they secure good jobs, implement what they've learned out there, still bring the money here. You understand? So, yeah, that's my own response to your question, as brief as that, yeah.
And your last word?
Okay, now coming to my last word, and the reason why I want to say it like this is because discussions like this will happen in different parts of Africa, almost on a daily basis. And I often think it's because people are looking for a direct answer, but the answer is not direct. So when you try and study or analyze how the Westerners got to be where they are, one of the ways was through colonization. They had to take our brothers and sisters through slave trade. So most of those developments are a result of, as a result of Africans who were taken there, forced to work in those industries, bring about different innovations. That's one of the things. So we can learn a lot of things from this. One, it's very difficult. It's not an easy way to just say we are now developed, you get. So the reason why, for example, I started cooking when I came to Rwanda. I'd never cooked. My parents, we always have a maid who was doing these things home. But when I came here, I was on my own. And I knew the only way I have to eat is to cook. So I learned the hard way, you get. So there's no shortcuts. You can't just go around, no. So I think this is what people have to have at the back of their minds when they're having discussions like this. What you are looking for is not the easy way out, because it's never an easy way out. If you want to reach there, do what it takes. If it's about industrialization, everyone has to be held accountable. No corruption in the whole country. Everybody should report to work. Everybody should be responsible, accountable. I mean, it's very difficult, but for example, the reason why countries like Germany had to develop, I think if you study their history, they were at war. If I'm at war, I'm forced to quicken my innovations so that I can easily beat my fighter, like somebody who's trying, my enemy, you understand? That's how they developed. And then now we are just here, no one is really fighting us now, and we want to develop. It's very easy, like difficult. You get the point from which I'm trying to come from. So if you also try to understand how others have made it, and then you see how difficult the process was, and then it's not going to only take discussions like this to make Africa great again, or great. It will take a lot. And that's one thing people should know. And yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for the hosts here and the ones following us. So my name is Noah, by just reminding you all. So coming to a conclusion of all this, we Africans, we can. That's one first thing I would emphasize on. We can. And if we already want to know that we can, then let's implement that. Let's put that in actions. And all it's gonna take, concluding and adding up on what he just said, let's do the work. Let's just not dream of luxurious life or things are just gonna fall from heaven and happens. No, because even those that achieved, there was once a first step. So it all needs that effort, a foundation. And that strong foundation is love, work, and why not just pray to God? Yeah. Thank you
very much. Thank you very much. Thank you again. Can you clap for yourselves, please?
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you guys here with us. It was a very nice conversation. I took pleasure in hearing the things, the opinions that you guys had to share with us. You know, it was very intellectual. I actually think that you guys are very smart, so kudos. Thank you, Melwin.
Thank you, Sangwa.
Thank you for being here and co-hosting the show. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. It was a pleasure having you guys, you know, listening to these university students, these amazing people who have a really bright future. It was really nice having you. Let us hope that us together as Africans, we are learning and that we are taking actions to actually build a future that we want, right? A future that is bright for not only us, but the people who are going to come from us. Let us meet the next Thursday, same hour, same place. Bye.